Hello and welcome to another episode of Moose's Gear Goo Review. I'm Moose, and today we have a knife review, and that knife is one I have had a chance to carry for a while, and it's pretty awesome. It's the Ultimate Survival Knives Primitive, the MSK-1 P, or also known as the MSK-1 Primitive. Okay, this is a big piece of steel. It comes to us by way of Ultimate Survival Tips, and Dave, he's a YouTuber. He started as a YouTuber here, and he has since honed his skills and studied and used and tested and reviewed plenty of knives to the point where he came up with his own knife. It was kickstarted, and unfortunately it was kind of pricey, and I'm not gonna pay what he was asking for initially for those first batches of knives. Obviously, when you're coming out with a new product, it does cost money, but eventually he got to the point where he can make a more affordable knife for more budget-friendly survival folks who want to test it out. And so what he came up with was the Primitive. It's basically the same knife design, just different materials. Same knife design, different materials, and it saves money, but you still get the functionality of the overall knife design. So we'll go over some of the changes real quickly as I describe this knife. I don't have the specs with me right now, but I'll put them over on one of these sides here so you can check it out. As far as you can tell, it is a full tang fixed blade knife. It has a pretty broad blade head with a nice drop point or clip point there. It has a full flat plain edge blade. It is a flat grind, at least on this model, and you have a swedge up there. And basically the steel on the original knife was D2. Since then, the standard one is now coming in, I think, 154 cm, and it's now being manufactured by Tops. And this particular model, the Primitive, is a 1075 high carbon steel. So 1075 high carbon steel, which a lot of your machetes and yard tools are actually made out of 1075. So it doesn't necessarily hold up an edge as good as 1095, but it still holds a really dang good edge for what it is, and it is more than easy enough to sharpen out in the field. But the real trick or treat with 1075 is it's more durable. Like, it can take a beating, and it's more resilient that way. So it's good for chopping and hard use. It's a very usable steel. So and that's probably one of the biggest things that they did as far as cutting the price. Other than that, they have these handles here, these wood handles. I think they're hickory, but like I said, I'll leave links below. But they are shaped the same way as the other one. You can actually get these scales for the other version. The fit and finish is a little rough on them. It could have been a little better sanded, at least on the scales I got, but it fits nice in hand, and yeah, no complaints other than just the cosmetic looks. Going into the handle, or into the blade some more, we have a ramped, jimped spine there, which really locks your thumb in place pretty well. You also have a forward finger choil, so you can bite up and do some finer carving. Going into the handle now, we have 2 holes for lanyards or lashing points. You have some textured grip on the actual handle scales. Jimping goes into the tang, as well as the back ends here. And there's some nice swells in the handle, at least the profile way. So you have that hook for chopping. You can grab in the middle for a nice hammer grip, and then choke up for finer carving. I like this knife. I like this knife specifically for those 3 handle options. Then at the back end, you have a lanyard hole and a striking pommel with some jimping there for crushing or hammering. And then you also have a fire steel notch right here. So there is a survival kit inside the handle that was put together by Wazoo Survival Gear. I'll put links in the description below for David's channel, and he goes over everything that's put in there, as well as I have an installation video, a tutorial on how to put the items into the handle. So I will link that up in the upper right hand corner as well. The other cool thing is the first reversible bow drill divot, stainless steel or metal bow drill divot. So if you're right-handed or left-handed, you can just flip these two screws over and put the bow drill divot on either side. So super cool. So that's pretty much the knife. The sheath is a leather sheath. The knife itself and the sheath are both made in El Salvador. So it's not USA made, but El Salvador has been making machetes for decades, if not centuries. And they really know what they're doing with 1075, and the leather work on the sheath is pretty nice. It is a dangler, but you can just let that drop if you don't want to use that, and just use your belt loop there. Has the symbol there. There are some leather straps back here. They're really tight, so you can't really tuck anything in there. Like, you'd really have to work that leather to do like a horizontal scout carry. I'm not saying that it's not possible, but on this particular model, this leather is almost too tight, and you'd have to figure out something else to try to get in there, or really put in some work to loosen that up. Overall, I like the sheath design. It hangs a little low, and it is a bigger, heavier knife, but it works, and I used it without any major problems. So I was pretty impressed with it. And once you get this belt, you'll feel it. Once you get this on your belt, you'll feel it, the heft right away, but after a couple minutes, you know, it will feel like any other knife. I did decide to upgrade or do an add-on and get the Kydex sheath, just because, you know, I like it. It's a little bit more tight. You know, you can see size-wise it's a little more small. And this is the type of sheath I would wear if I wanted to go like more of a tactical route. It does come with a MOLLE clip, MOLLE compatible clip there, so you can just lock that in and hook it to any MOLLE compatible PALS MOLLE webbing. Other than that, it locks in really nice. I was worried because all the other models have G10 scales that the wood scales might not work, but it fits just fine. There's a little bit of a rattle, but you know, I could tighten that up here and maybe make it a little tighter. That fits in really well, and I like it. Carrying it on the hip though, this does tend to stick up, and with my love handles, it'll jab me a bit, but other than that, this is a great sheath for just throwing it in your pack if you want this more of a pack knife, either on the outside or the inside of your pack. So yeah, so like the sheaths and the knife. So doing a quick comparison, I do have a knife. This is my go-to kind of woodsman survival knife. This is the Condor Pterosaur. This is 1095, but a lot of Condor stuff is made with 1075, also from El Salvador. So you can see size-wise, handle width, you know, you got much more handle grip and length for a 3-grip handle. Blade-wise, if you actually measure just the cutting edge, it's about the same length, just over 4 inches, and the cutting edge is about the same. Obviously there's a little bit more belly to this, so there's going to be a little bit longer of an edge. Overall though, you can see the size difference, and you definitely feel the weight difference. Handle wise though, if you have a bigger, wider hand, you might want to go with this because it just has a really full grip. If you have small hands, this might be too big of a knife or grip for you. So it'd be nice if Ultimate Survival Tips comes out with like a slim version, or a small version, or a mini. So just kind of slim the profile of the knife this way, maybe shorten it up a little, shorten the choil. I mean, that choil is really big, but it's super comfortable. But yeah, up here on top, this is also sharpened 90 degrees, so you could potentially scrape or throw sparks with that. But yeah, overall, really like this knife, like the design, and it just feels powerful in your hand. Now, with my experience with chopping and finally getting to test this, chopping was fun. It's just one of these knives when you get in your hand and you just bite up on the back end, you just want to start swinging and chopping. I did notice that if I chop too hard, I would slip out a little just because it's rounded. So if you want to do a lot of chopping, I'd recommend putting a lanyard on there just to secure it to your hand. But if you do the 2-finger grip, I prefer the 3 with this. There is enough heft and you can chop really well with this knife. It is definitely a chopper. So yeah, David claims that this can replace a small hatchet, and I know there's been a lot of guff and like people are out to prove like he's wrong. Honestly, it can replace a small hatchet. I've chopped stuff with it, and it's no different than a hatchet as far as like, I think people's definition of what a hatchet is and how hard you can swing it and what the overall use of a hatchet is for might be different, but overall, if it's a small hatchet, yeah, this thing could basically replace a small hatchet. So there was no boasting on his part from that, and I'm speaking from experience. I'm not trying to take one side or the other, but legit, this does some good chopping. We're gonna try batoning with the MSK primitive. You can see the diameter. It's just over 2 inches. And here we go. Let's hope this baton holds up. Nice. Nice. Good split. In the winter, or if it's raining, you want to get to the inside of the wood. Oh, this thing's a dream at batoning. Other than that, when it came to finer work, it was really nice to bite up on the handle here. When you're in this forward finger choil grip, it's very balanced. So for doing finer carving, right at that first part, and like feather sticks, you have a lot of control and the leverage is really nice. So really like that with this handle. Feather sticking was great with it. I mean, it was a little thicker, so it didn't bite in as nice as like a Scandi grind, but it still bit in, and like I said, you had excellent control by biting up on that handle. For bow drills, I didn't test the bow drill yet. I will probably do a dedicated video just to that when I get time to try it. But I did try drilling, and having that point at the center point was actually pretty nice. I did like that as well. So the rotation and the center point for drilling on this knife is pretty good. Other than that, I like that he used basic flat hardware on that. I'm thinking eventually I'm gonna zip tie a washer to both the sheaths so I can just use the knife, cut the zip tie, and get that washer out if I ever need to access the survival kit and handle. Otherwise, having just a small flathead pry tool, you can easily get that out, whether it's a doohickey or a Griffin pocket tool or whatever. So yeah, definitely is doable, and I like that. Other than that, like, the knife just is great. It definitely gives you a sense of security if you're unsure about going into the woods. I'm usually used to carrying a smaller knife, which I like a lot. And definitely more bushcrafty, but if I was trying to just bring like 2 tools, like a pocket knife and like a heavier duty knife, that would be a good combination. Or instead of a saw or a small hatchet, you could take this and like a saw and like a more delicate bushcraft knife. I mean, there's definitely ways to combo this up. And Dave actually sells a smaller MSK knife as well. So You could definitely pair this up and create a lot of different systems. So yeah, I mean, overall, just a really cool knife. Now the price for this, when I got it, was like 150 bucks. And I think for that, it's definitely worth it. I've gotten my money and use and tools out of this. And plus he sent like extra goodies, so I'll link the unboxing up in the other right hand corner. But yeah, great knife for the price, really good, and overall very happy, and I recommend you guys checking out this knife. So yeah, that is the Ultimate Survival Knife, or Ultimate Survival Tips MSK-1 P for primitive. So there you have it. Well, thank you guys. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Check out my links and let me know what you think. Thank you guys. Peace, and I'll see you outside.